Hi everyone, welcome back to Mickey Car Beauty. Today we'll be reviewing and trying on the Suqqu Pre-Holiday Palette 109. And then we'll be also trying on and swatching some Suqqu lipsticks and lip fogs. And I also swatched some other possible dupes for this quad. And so if you're interested to see if you might have some dupes of this beautiful 109 pre-holiday palette, then keep watching. So I ended up getting this eye kit through Suqqu Selfridges. It was an exclusive and it was eye kit number 1. And the eye kit number 1 came with the 2 eye quads and the 2 brushes. So the 2 eye quads and then a blending brush and then an angled shader brush. So today we're going to try 109 part from the pre-holiday collection, FUYUSHIZUKU. And it is the bronze and grayish mauve palette. Signature color eyes, 109 FUYUSHIZUKU, bronze and grayish mauve. This cool bronze smoky must-have quad is inspired by bright lights set against a silent winter night. We'll start with this one over here, which is kind of a gray purple silver. Look at that, it's really pretty. And this is probably the matte shade. So a muted, cool tone, gray purple lilac. And this one, woo, this is the one I've been waiting for. Brown, rich, gold, and it's similar to my color of my shirt. This is definitely one of my favorite colors in the fall. And then this glittery, smoky shade at the bottom. People want to see if you can build it up, especially if you have a deeper skin tone. That's really important to know if it's going to actually show up and how it's going to show up. Really beautiful colors. I think this will look nice on lighter skin tones. I would question this if you're deeper than me, if that might look ashy. So I'll leave it up to you to decide if you think, but you know, I'm showing you in terms of reference. I'm about an NC40 warm olive undertone. So going into that purple shade, taking a rougher 02 brush to dip into this shade right here. And then taking my Suqqu angled brush, which came as part of the kit, right here, so you can see it is angled and it's squirrel hair. I'm taking in this lower right shimmer shade. It's a little fallout. It's that bottom right here. And then going back with this blender brush, I'm just going to blend it a little bit. Wow, that looks really, really smoky. Much more than this always happens. What I mentioned in my last video is that I found with Suqqu quads, it's best to just lay the color and not to overblend. So I think the Western way of doing makeup is to like lay down and like blend, 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 and like buff everything in. I think you can do that, but what I found with Suqqu quads is that if you end up doing that, it ends up kind of getting muddy. And that kind of reminds me a little bit of Tom Ford, and that you don't want to overly blend. Then the colors start to bleed into each other, and then you don't get the nuance of the different gradations. So you can see more of the purple up here, that reddish orangey color here, and then that shimmer shade down here. So I don't want to over blend it. I'm taking a Wayne Goss 03 brush. This is a squirrel hair brush, so it's much more delicate, and see if that just kind of just softens up the edges a little bit. And what I want to do is actually go in again with this color. I love it. I'm going to go in and lay it down a little bit more, see if there's more impact. And normally what I ended up doing was using this shade as a liner, but what I think with my eye shape, I don't really like that technique because I have hooded eyelids. So even when I use eyeliner, I don't like to use super thick eyeliner because then you lose what space I had. Do you see that? Like there's not much space to show the color. So if I take up more of this space for eyeliner or colors, then you really miss a lot of the color on the mobile lid. And that's why I end up putting the color actually a little bit higher, which is a technique for those of you with hooded eyelids to actually bring up the shadow higher to where the bone, right, the orbital bone is, and that way you can show more of the makeup. Rougher 14 just for more precision, a smaller brush up here. So I'm using the Wayne Goss 05 just to see, and I love Wayne Goss brushes because they're soft, they're made for people with aging eyelids, and then also people with hooded eyelids, because Wayne Goss, I don't know if you haven't been following him, but you need to follow him. And he is a makeup artist. He's fabulous, and his products are amazing. So I actually reach for rougher second most, but probably the Wayne Goss brushes the most out of all my collection. So I'm just going to take some of that shade here and gently place it on. That's better. And I think with the angled shader brush, I'd have to play with it more, is that even though the design, I think the execution, at least for me, because I have small eyelids, that it's not as precise. So it had to be definitely more delicate and intentional of how it lays down. Probably go into this shade here as the topper shade and just run it along. I wonder if it'd be different if I use the rougher 02. So let me run some underneath the lower lash line, and I'm taking this color here. Okay, I'm back with the finished eye look. This ended up being way smokier than I actually wanted it to be, but we're gonna go with it. It's definitely not a daytime look. So let me get in closer so you can see. And the thing to know about these Suqqu eyeshadows is if you make a mistake, I'm finding that it's easy to go in and kind of erase it. So you can see that I put too much down, but it's hard to take away. But if you wanted to layer on more of a color, so I obviously for me, this is like the shade I like the best in this palette. So I wanted more of that, and I just went back in and just layered more of that in. And some mascara got on the mobile lid, and so I just kind of patted that over. Taking my Wayne Goss 02 into the Tom Ford Gold Dust. This is the second day that I'm using the Suqqu foundation. I love this foundation. I know that some people did not like it. I'm not sure why, other than it works for me. And maybe it's because the shades work. I have a yellow undertone, and maybe because it's a Japanese owned company, they're going to pay attention to Japanese people who have more of like either a pale yellow or just a yellow undertone. So even if I'm a deeper shade of yellow golden, the 40 works great on me. So I really have a hard time finding foundations that just match, and even usually ones with, I love my La Mer and Tom Ford, but even then sometimes, like if I'm looking here, this is the true test if it's matching not only here but here. And then Suqqu just was a wonderful job in terms of the quality of the foundation, just getting really close so you can see. I'm having some breakouts down here, but it covered it up. I mean, you can still see the texture, obviously, but I'm having an unwanted visitor here today, but I just letting you see how the foundation's wearing. I usually have lines up here, but it's not so prominent. And I don't find that if I have issues, it'll settle into here and here, and that doesn't happen with this foundation. So I'm really happy with that foundation. I love it. Highly recommend it. And if you want some help picking a shade, they can help you as well. And if you watch the other video, I did not pick up 103. I'm kind of waiting to see reviews on it just because I have 101 and 102, and you can see already that I've used these a lot, and there's no way, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to ever hit pan on these. So I'm just trying to slow down on buying things, right? I think with these launches, we really feel compelled to like buy. And, like I'm good with what we have here. And also 103 didn't look that drastically different than this to compel me to buy it. So just kind of being mindful about what I'm buying and using what I have, right? I know some of us struggle with that. Some of us go ahead and buy it. That's fine. You do you. For me, I'm just like, I just really want to try to be like, do I really need that? Is it that much different? Is there anything else in my collection that I have already that could be a dupe? Which one do I like better? So this down here is the 102, and this is the 101. Now, there is a difference in how that performs, in my opinion. So you don't need a lot for color payoff for 101. For 102, I think it's meant for deeper skin tones, maybe medium tan, medium deep. However, yes, it looks more pigmented, but I find with this one, you have to work more to get the pigment payoff. So I get really a little frustrated with this one, even though it's deeper. It runs a little bit patchier. For me, the ease of use is easy for 102 versus 101. So I find myself reaching for 101 more. So why don't we try 102 and see how that goes. Okay, I'm going into this color here just because it's kind of matching what I'm wearing. And then you'll see what I mean by it doesn't need a lot. I mean, you have to build it. So can you see it? That was like me tapping into there. I'll try it again. Okay, you can see a little bit more. So I would say it's like not instant payoff, but it's there, right? It's pretty. I just don't reach for this palette as much. So why don't I pull from, maybe combine these two and for the front and see what that looks like. Hello. Okay. So I basically used all three just so you could see. I like this one the best. Sometimes this can get a little too pink for me. So let's try this as a highlighter. Taking a Detail Pro from Sonia G. Just going into that. And that's it. I'm going to use for highlighter. I don't like to over highlight. And you can see, so I powdered my face, but you can see the natural glow coming through from Suqqu. But I just know that if I don't use my finishing powder, I'm going to be much more oily in the next couple hours. And so what this finishing powder does is just kind of chills everything out and blurs everything. On to lipstick. I have 113, I think from last season or earlier this year. Let me just swatch that. So I have 112, which might be more suited because it's more of a pale pink. I have 03 in the lip fog formula. I'll put that here. I have 103 in the lip fog formula, and this is a limited edition. That might be good since it's a cool color. Okay, we're gonna go with 103 from the limited edition collection because it's more of like a pale nude color. Okay, that's 103 from the limited edition collection, I think a season ago. 103 is like a pale mauve pink for me. Pulled out some palettes that might have some dupes of the colors. I don't think they're going to be exact dupes, but I pulled them out just for comparison. This lilac gray shade reminds me a lot of the Pat McGrath Divine Rose one. So this one here, I'm sorry, I don't remember the color, but it's that one in the Divine Rose one collection. And I'll swatch that over here so you can see. So similar vibe. I think that has a little bit more mauve purple undertone in it. Well, this is just more of a light color. Of course, it's like Pat McGrath, so these are super pigmented, whereas Suqqu is about a lighter swath of color. I thought about the Viseart Paris Edit, and this is too light, I think. It'll be this one that looks similar. And I'll swatch that over here as well. So that's also a deeper one. That's actually closer to this color here. And then I thought of Tom Ford's Pretty Baby, but I don't think this is going to be an exact dupe. It's this color here, which has a little bit more glitter in it. Right, you can see that the shimmer. I love that color though. It has a lot of dimension. And the Lila Natasha Denona palette is actually this one. And some of these colors are not the originals of Lila. Just don't panic. This one is actually from a different 5-pan Natasha Denona. So that one is from Lila, and I'll put that up here. In terms of a dupe for this color here, I was thinking maybe this one from the Paris Edit collection or this one. I think these are too shimmery. It's close though. Yeah, those are more pink. But the vibe is similar to that. But not an exact dupe. It's definitely more shimmery. It's Tom Ford Body Heat. This color right here, which is a fantastic color. That one. So let me swatch the Suqqu one just so you can see it. This is the Suqqu one, and this is the Tom Ford Pretty Baby. So again, this is Suqqu, and then I'll put the Tom Ford one here. Definitely similar. This one is a little bit more shimmer. This is a little bit, has some dimension, but it's a little bit more muted, but very similar vibes. So let's move into my final thoughts on this 109 quad. Now I think it's really pretty for as we're moving into the winter months, and it's like a cool mauve, cool tone palette. I think up close, I like the eye look. I think it's really pretty, but far away, I guess I get disarmed by how smoky it is. I think these are coming to Cult Beauty. They might be released at Harrods at some point. I'm not sure. If so, I'll leave the link below so you can check it out if you want to buy. I don't believe they're at Selfridges anymore. I think they might have sold out. Try contacting Selfridges Suqqu sales associates, and I'll leave the email below to see if they're getting any restock. It's possible that these will get restocked, but I will say that what excited me about this color story is that it reminded me of a little bit of like a Tom Ford quads in a way, not in terms of the quality, but just like the color story and the vibe. So, you know, you let me know what you think. It's usually cool tones are not my thing, and maybe that's where it's out of my comfort zone. And maybe that's that I'm just used to warm tones more, but it's a little bit like this is definitely throwing me off. It's definitely throwing me off. So I think that's it. Those are my final thoughts. So if you like this look, let me know. So let me know what you think below. If you've ever tried Suqqu, what do you think? What do you think about this eye look? Should I have done something different? Any suggestions? And again, I think it looks really pretty up close. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today, and if you liked the content today, please consider commenting below, subscribing, and letting your friends know about the channel. And then I will see you in the next video. But meanwhile, be yourself, take good care of others and yourself, and then I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.